BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
I wanted to give you guys a quick heads up that this is a personal story of mine, something that I've needed to get off my chest for quite some time. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with unresolved trauma in their life, things that have been buried deep inside of them for a long time. And some of us know that it's there and don't know how to handle it. Some of us don't know that it's there. And there's things that happen in our life many years later that actually reignite the trauma that happened in the past. For me, it was something that happened when I was 10 years old. I don't wish trauma upon anyone, but my goal with this episode is to share my story about how a Yoohoo chocolate drink has literally changed the entire trajectory of my life. So I appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate you hearing me out. And if you're someone that is dealing with unresolved trauma, this episode's for you.
Bruises heal. Healing isn't about getting over it. It's about walking through it, naming it, facing it, and finally taking it back, the power it had over you. That power is no longer there. And that is what being built to be is really all about.
What are you built to be? What are you built to become? The time is now. The time is right now. You weren't built to break. You were built to be something greater. Welcome to season 2 of the BTB Project. I'm your host, Kollman Gearhart. I was the overweight kid, the one counted out, lost 100 pounds, found purpose in the pain, and turned my setbacks into a story worth telling. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about identity, discipline, and comebacks. Getting up one more time and becoming who we're always meant to be. If you're ready to go deep, do the work, and live out what you're built to be, you're in the right place. Let's lock in, let's rise, and let's get to work.
There's a part of my story I never thought I would have to share. It wasn't because I didn't trust people, but because I didn't realize I was still carrying this burden, this weight, this anchor in my life. You see, most of my life, I thought I'd already been through the worst. I grew up around addiction. There was a whole bloodline on my mom's side of the family of alcohol and drug abusers. I battled depression. I hated the body I lived in, the body I looked at, how I let myself go to
be so overweight. Later, I fought through a tumor, through multiple losses, through injury, all of it. And in a way, I thought I had conquered a lot of the most difficult circumstances in my life. There's a lot of things I'm proud of. I lost 100 pounds. I became a Division I college tennis player. I've been able to coach for over 22 years, winning multiple state championships at the high school level, helping several individuals play college tennis. I started the BTB Project and the podcast. And in 3 years, I'm almost at 200 episodes. And the podcast has reached 42 countries worldwide. I thought I'd turn all of my pain into purpose. But you see, with trauma, it's very sneaky. It doesn't just disappear in your life. It waits. It stays on your shoulder, waiting for you to be vulnerable to where it will creep up into your life. Sometimes trauma, it will wait until you're finally strong enough to face it. And that's where I stand today. Being able to face it. I remember this moment vividly. I'm on a road trip with my son, who is a competitive runner. And he was running a cross-country race out in Alabama. And after his races, he would love to get himself a bag of candy, a award, a treat for his efforts in that race. So we stopped at a gas station. And at this gas station, as he's looking for candy, I was there just being dad, following him through the various aisles, waiting for him to make his decision. But then as I crossed through one of the last aisles, that's when everything changed. That's when I saw it. In the beverage section, I saw a glass bottle of Yoohoo chocolate drink. And before I could even think, my body just began to react. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. This was all over a chocolate drink. That's when it hit me. That Yoohoo bottle that I saw unlocked a memory I had buried deep inside of me for almost 30 years. You see, when I was 10 years old, I was sexually abused by my two cousins while I was visiting my grandparents in Tennessee. We loved to go out and fish, come back by sundown, enjoy a nice dinner, rinse and repeat. But it was before that dinner, after we fished, my two cousins slipped pills into my Yoohoo. And that drink, the same one that I used to share with my grandpa when we would go down to the local convenience store and make the 3-mile trek in his fire truck to go get a Yoohoo. Drink used to mean so many positive memories, so many moments of joy. But then in an instant, that drink became corrupted, became toxic, became a living hell thinking back to that moment. When this all happened at 10 years old, I never told anyone. Not back then. Not for decades. I buried it. But here's the truth. Trauma doesn't stay buried. It will show up in your life whether you like it or not. Not only does it show up, it comes in all different forms. In your body, in your nervous system, in the way that you isolate, in the way that you mask your pain with performance, in a way you carry shame you can't even name. That day in the gas station wasn't just a trigger. This was a door, a painful, necessary doorway. And for the first time in my life, I walked through it. I looked at the 10-year-old version of me, and in my memory, I said, I see you. I believe in you, and it wasn't your fault. It was in that moment the real healing began. But unfortunately, this wasn't the first time I had to face darkness in my life. When I was a kid, they called me Big Teddy Bear, BTB. Sounds cute, right? But for me, it was the worst feeling in the world to be a heavy-set, short kid being referred to a fluffy, stuffed animal. At that point in my life, I was heavy. I was depressed. I was alone. And one night at the age of 14 years old, I put on shoes that were 2 sizes too big and just started running. Not just to get in shape, not just to chase a dream, but to make my heart stop. It was that night, moments before, I was telling my mom about a homecoming date and how fun it would be to go to the dance. And she looked at me right in the eyes and said, son, you're too fat to go on a homecoming date. So it was that run, the pain that I heard from my own mother, I didn't want to come back from that run. I remember this like it was yesterday. I ran 15 miles. I collapsed in a field. And when I woke up, I realized I didn't want to die. I wanted to change. That moment flipped the switch in my life. Started to go after my goals and dreams. I lost 100 pounds in 13 months. I fought my way on to a Division I tennis team. I proved everyone wrong. My coaches, my counselor, even my own family. But proving people wrong wasn't enough for me. You see, growing up, my mom abused alcohol her entire life. When I was 16, I literally dragged her into an alcohol rehab when she fought me to stay home. I remember that day very well. I told her, Mom, you're either going to go get help or I'm going to go. I was tired of all of the sleepless nights as a kid, being in situations where I would have to go and check her pulse as she's passed out on the ground. put my ear up to her mouth to check to see if she's still breathing after she consumes 2 liters of wine a night. And I'll never forget, by the sophomore year of college, I got a call that I never thought I'd get. Kollman, your mom's in the hospital. Come now. By the time I got to the hospital, I saw something that no kid should ever have to see. Their mother on a hospital bed, clinically brain dead. Doctors told me it was my choice whether to keep her on life support or to let her go. You see, my mom trusted me with some of the toughest decisions she ever had to make. When she went to alcohol rehab 4 times, I was the one that she would call. I took on that responsibility. And I remember very vividly my mom saying, I don't ever want to be kept on life support. I don't ever want a machine to keep me alive if something ever happened to me. So I remember the day before we made the decision to pull life support. And I come back the following day. And I come close to my mom. I press my forehead up against hers. And I put my hand on her face. It was very hard for me to be affectionate with my mother. I whispered a Bible verse. The verse Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I love you, Mom. And at that point, under all medical odds, she opened her eyes. Tears began to come down her face. And she mouthed the words, go help people. And that's what became my mission. You see, for a long time, I thought the lesson of my life was about grit, how much I can endure, how tough I am. What can I get through next? How can I be the last one standing? How can I go and lose the weight or prove people wrong? It was always about pushing through for me. But you see, that Yoohoo bottle, it taught me something else. If we don't resolve our trauma in our life, we recycle it. It comes back right into our life. It manifests in such a way to where it becomes the present again. We pass it down. We project it. We bury it in our success. But it still leaks out anyways. And we start to believe this lie that we're broken. But you're not a broken person. You're bruised. But guess what? Bruises heal. Healing isn't about getting over it. It's about walking through it, naming it, facing it, and finally taking it back, the power it had over you. That power is no longer there. And that is what being built to be is really all about. So I want to leave this with you to implement in your life. You are not alone. You are not what happened to you. You are not broken. You are built to be. You're built to be brave enough to face the past. You're built to be strong enough to heal. You're built to be free enough to live without shame. Because what tried to destroy you in your life might just become the reason somebody else survives. That is purpose. That is legacy. That is what it means to be built to be. Let your pain become your platform. Let your truth become the torch that you carry each and every day. And walk boldly into the next chapter of your life. Not in spite of what you've been through, but because of what has happened to you. You are not a byproduct of your circumstances. You are not a conglomerate of negativity, of difficult, harsh things that were not your fault. You are built to be great. As always, remember, impossible is nothing.